And let's be honest, Danny, when Arne Slot was appointed Liverpool manager, we weren't too sure, were we? Some people didn't know too much about him. We knew he had big boots to fill and Jurgen Klopp, not just the manager, but the character. Did you really, in your wildest dreams, imagine that this season would have gone as well as what it has?
No, I was a bit worried. I don't know about you. No, well, I say worried only because Dutch managers generally haven't had success.
You're scarred by Ten Hag at Man United, weren't you?
A little bit. The squad was good, obviously, but then they made no signings. So everyone was a little bit, what's acceptable? But to do what they've done is just incredible. The level of success, the level of performance, the little tweaks he's made. It's just been brilliant, hasn't it? It's been a great season. The fans are ecstatic. The title is what they wanted, and it's what they've got. And now, time to build.
For me, Jermaine, even before a ball was kicked, I was impressed by how he spoke, by how he conducted himself. Like, with Ten Hag at United, you almost felt like he was giving mixed messages all the time. I think of when Graham Potter went to Chelsea, and it almost felt like he didn't sound like a Chelsea manager, but Slot, from the minute he walked in and spoke, he sounded like this job wasn't going to be too big for him, and he came across incredibly well before a ball was even kicked.
Look, I think he knew he was inheriting a great team, which always helps. He probably looked at that team and think, I don't really need to do too much in my first season within getting players in. I will tweak it to my style. And he's a confident guy, he's a confident manager. And so with all those aspects coming in, he came off the ground running. And he actually believed that, I'm going to do well this season. Well, some managers go into a big season, a big team, and they're unsure of this league as well, because this league is demanding, it's hard. We've seen some top managers come over it and not, produce the goods.
I remember he did an interview after winning at United, and he just spoke quickly and concisely about the tactics and the plan and what they'd worked on to get the win, and everyone just went, whoa, that sounded easy, that made sense. And even the players adapting so quickly to what he wanted, and obviously the Gravenberch role, but fullbacks staying more at home, things like that. Everything seems to be seamless, and I think that's because of the delivery. When we've had coaches, I'm sure you have as well, that you just get it quickly, and others you're kind of coming off the training pitch going, what's going on, lads?
Yeah, and as a player, can you, if a manager does come in, can players be quite judgy quite quickly and almost make their mind up within the first couple of weeks?
100%. If a manager's coming in, he's giving loads of information. We're very, easygoing. We like straight things, nothing too much out of the ordinary. Where Slots came in and he's not adjusted anything crazy. It's little tweaks. And for us, that's perfect. Yeah. We don't want to come into a new manager with a new system, new style. Got to learn this, do the homework. That's just for now. We're simple guys. Football is simple. Yeah. So with him coming in, giving it.
Speak for yourself, Jermaine. This guy's an intelligent man over here.
From a technical point of view, he's right. When someone wants to rip some up and start it all again, it's hours and hours on the training pitch and getting used to what do you want me to do. Whereas a lot of those Liverpool players already had nice relationships and have had reasonable success. So little tweaks, you kind of go with it and you think that might make us a bit better. Yeah. And then you start seeing the results and the performances like, God, this is working. But I think you can actually, when he talks, you can feel the knowledge. Like it's all right being good in front of the media and having a joke and being charismatic. But from a football sense, when he talks about football, I listen.
Sure.
It's like, right, what's coming next? Okay, I want to hear, he's going to educate me. And I think if I'm feeling that from afar, the players definitely are.
Yeah, and I remember that United game so well. That was the third game of the season. We went there and won 3-0. And after the game on the pitch, he basically broke it down, didn't he? Almost in like Monday Night Football-esque. Yeah. And you're like, we're in good hands over here.
Yeah, exactly.
You both used the word tweaks. Did it feel like, Danny, that it was, Klopp was quite heavy metal, super aggressive, where with Slot, it was take the extra touch, take the extra pass, be a little bit more patient in terms of build-up?
I think there was more possession at times, more slow football when they were winning games. They saw out games a bit better. They wasn't constantly going after teams. I think there was certain times in games where you could consciously see him shouting on to just keep passing it without trying to score, which we've seen City do for years. I think there were so many little things he did well. That was the main one. I mean, the adaptation in midfield at times was different than Klopp's. He was more one player, more definitive, getting forward. Like if the Szoboszlai role, if you like. Sometimes Curtis Jones played, occasionally McAllister. Klopp was a bit more rigid with the three, I think. Still up and down, but it was more set. There were so many little things that probably the biggest one, if you look at it and listen to all the interviews, when Salah said it jokingly, but he was obviously telling the truth. He told Salah that he didn't want him to defend as much, which to a forward. I mean, if a manager said that to you.
Tell you what, I'll still be playing now.
Music to your ears, right?
Oh, it's a dream for attacking players. Don't worry about defending. You just concentrate on what you do going forward. And it's no surprise that we've seen the numbers that we've seen from him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the Salah Van Dijks, they probably get more praise than most. But you mentioned the midfield three. Say Gravenberch has maybe been the unsung hero of that team, given the fact that he's had to play a slightly deeper role, a slightly different role. We didn't get Supermendy in the summer, who we were linked with. Was he maybe kind of the unsung hero of that team, playing in a new role for him this season, the six?
I would say so. I think, because Klopp had the chance to play him there, but for some reason just avoided it at all costs and, used Endo and McAllister. And now we're seeing the benefits from McAllister as well now, because on the Klopp, it was good. He's a better player now with a little bit more further forward and a bit more freedom and not having to sit back as deep. But like I said, that Gravenberch, what he's done is fantastic. And you've got to give all that credit to Slot for being brave enough to play in because he was more of an attacking kind of midfielder to say, no, you just sit here and get that ball off the defence. I think getting the ball on the turn, he's probably one of the best at doing it.
Sure, yeah.
Well, but he had inside knowledge because Gravenberch did play sitting when he was at Ajax for a year. So Slot would have seen him do that. And the other thing, when you get a manager, irrelevant whether you're in a new position or not, who just starts you every game, because he had Endo there. He didn't have to start him every game. Kept starting him every game. You saw the confidence grow in him. Konaté's the same. Last year, if you remember, Konaté and Quansah, Klopp wasn't sure.
One played Champions League, one played the league. They basically rotated them, didn't he?
In cup competitions, he picked Quansah at the United game, I remember, ahead of Konaté and things like that. Whereas from half-time at Ipswich on the opening day, when he was struggling, Quansah with the lap, he put Konaté in and he went, "You're my man."
Yeah. And
Konaté's had the best season he's had in a Liverpool shirt. I think partly because the confidence, knowing he's just going to keep picking.
And he's going to stay fit as well for most of the season, which is
you tend to stay fit the more you play.
But also it's interesting, like you mentioned someone like a Quansah and Endo for argument's sake. Slot's come in and it almost felt like he had a look at some of the players and it's basically kind of almost made his mind up, it felt like. On players like Endo, Quansah, Elliott, Chiesa even maybe, quite early on in the season, that he basically just didn't really fancy them and has kind of almost used 13, 14, 15 players, maybe even less than that, as kind of the bulk of his team. And these kind of squad players, he never really rotated, did he, throughout the season?
Not really, but what he's done, he's came in and think, right, I want to see my best 11. And if you look at it, he's got it right. He's got it right with the individuals. Gravenberch is probably better than Endo. Endo's great at, being the enforcer role, but what we need, Gravenberch is the best guy for that role. Chiesa, we know his ability in there, but what we've got on either side, they're better than probably Chiesa. So he's gone, right, my first year, want to keep it simple, I'm playing my best 11. If you're fit, you're playing. Okay, I'll change you in there for legs and tiredness. But that seemed like his motto. So we may lose a lot of players in the summer in transfer, but I'm not we're worried because we don't use a massive squad. Yeah. If we keep the core 11, maybe a few of us fit, you just rotate that way.
And nobody's better than Endo's 5-minute cameo at the end of the game, is it?
You know when he comes on,
the 87-minute Endo cameo.
No one's scoring.
You know you're in a safe hand.
Keep him.
He needs to stay just for that, doesn't he? But do you find that as a player, Danny, that almost, because you see Pep almost every game he's making 5-6 substitutions. As a player, as a midfielder, if you had a manager who would maybe want to change the midfield three, would you find that hard as a player to not be playing every single game? You say your Konaté's been a better player and staying fit by playing every single week.
I think it depends because when we had the treble year with Houllier, he did mix it up a bit, but you knew when the big games come who the team was going to be. So you kind of didn't mind as much. If you've got someone only getting snippets, that's harder to manage because they lose a little bit of motivation. Endo's are quite exceptional in terms of his mentality. Even if you look at the front of the pitch, Gakpo and Diaz swapped that on the left wing a lot. I don't know if then he had Diaz up front for a while, sharing the role with Jota. Jota had an injury, didn't he? Diaz went up there. So they're all getting plenty of minutes. And because they were in so many competitions for so long, obviously League Cup final, Champions League quarter-final, the reality was it's easier to keep the players happy because of the amount of games. So he's got to find that balance now moving forward of how many he brings in, who he goes, and keeping everyone happy because that's why you need some young players as well. I thought Curtis Jones had a good season. We've talked about the midfield three, Szoboszlai, McAllister and
really well.
Gravenberch, but Jones had long spells in the team, in both positions actually, where he filled in brilliantly and did really well, and even played off the left a couple of times. Yeah,
and his consistency was really good. We don't need to go into the whole contrast situation again because that's been done, hasn't it, every day for the last 9 months. But two things you mentioned on that. Slot had to deal with that every single day in terms of being asked about it. But most importantly, we know Trent's gone. Just keep things out Salah and Van Dijk next season. We feel in safe hands, don't we, moving forward?
Well, that was key. I think we knew one of them would go, the big three. And I think if you'd have asked anyone, probably we kept the best ones. I think the most important ones.
Yeah.
I think Virgil is the the base of that team. Anyone who plays alongside him, they're a better player. And you can't replace what Salah gives you, those goals. You won't be able to get that. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. So we've probably kept the best, 2 out of the 3. And now it's all about building on the rest. Frimpong, I think I'm really happy with what he can bring. I think he's quicker than Trent. Going forward, we've seen he scores goals. He's comfortable in the box, probably a little bit more better than Trent. So yes, there may be the flip side of Trent's balls and that creativity, but we're going to get a different side of creativity.
I think it'd be a different type of right back, isn't it? Just before we talk about what's to come in the summer, just on the celebration, we both have played for Liverpool Football Club. I mean, Jermaine, you're a fan, obviously you are, Danny as well, born in the area. How special was it that, winning at home, the celebration, lifting the trophy in front of Anfield, pretty special stuff, Danny, watching that from afar?
Yeah, I couldn't be there. I was working, but on the game actually for BBC. But the memories of, because I've been a fan when they've won the title at Anfield.
Were you a season ticket holder as a kid?
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Both. We pay on the gate. Then we got season tickets eventually. But when they won it and I was there, it was actually a bit different because it was so expected because they'd done it so many times. Right? It was normal. Yeah. So it probably wasn't as vociferous as it was against Palace. And the other thing as well for those fans, because last time was COVID, a lot of those fans wouldn't have seen it before. So you could feel the emotion and the passion. It was incredible.
And did you feel that as a player as well then, I guess? Being a fan, then being a player.
Well, I didn't win the league there, unfortunately. I wish I had. But I can imagine because I've won.
The pressure and almost expect.
Yeah. And I think as well, it probably felt even greater because, like you said at the top of the show, nobody expected it. So Liverpool fans do expect to win trophies, but the majority didn't expect to win the league.
Not this season.
So this roller coaster kept going. It's like, oh my God, it's going to happen. And then it happens, and of course you have that wonderful celebration. And I think it's great because it brings everything forward. Most people would think, let's give him a couple of seasons. Yeah. Now already there, didn't spend any money. Well, the 10 million. Bum, and now look where we're going with it.
And now we have the rebuilding job, having won the league. It's incredible. Jermaine, I'll come to you on this. I know you're a guy that likes to celebrate. Liverpool. You like a night out, don't you, Jermaine? Rightly so. You don't anymore. So league gets wrapped up. We don't care, do we, that we didn't win another game from then on. I love the fact that the players won the league, and then we're like, you know what? We're going to Ibiza. We'll play. We won't win. We're then going away another holiday. The videos are great, weren't they? Arnie Slot in Ibiza, giving it the big one. All the players on boats enjoying themselves. That's what it's all about, right?
Listen, we put blood, sweat, and tears into a footballing season. A lot of games, a lot of training. No days off. Some ups and downs. You name it. So when you reach this pinnacle. Every single team, every single player is playing for that goal. And then when you do it out of that 20 team, you've got to, how can you not celebrate?
Yeah, absolutely.
In whatever way you want to do it. Like I said, they wrapped up the league within 4 or 5 games. So
go and enjoy yourself, right?
Right, boys, go and have a week off. Go on.
They did enjoy themselves because actually you could, there was nothing wrong with it.
No.
But they did. I mean, what was it? The Arsenal game at home, Chelsea away. I think
Chelsea away was the first game, wasn't it? Then there was Arsenal at home, Brighton away, and then Palace last day of the season.
The Arsenal at home game, for example, the first half, Liverpool blitzed them. Second half, Arsenal came back, understandably, and it's not like Liverpool went in and just, they still tried to win the games, but they couldn't last the games because you're not training.
They've been on last for a week.
They've got nothing to. They're not like, we need to win. We don't need to win this.
No, we literally didn't need to win anything, did we? Treble season, some of the celebrations must have been pretty special. Do you remember any? You got any little inside Liverpool stories for us on you, Stevie and Cara? Ending up, who knows where? Come on, give us something, Danny.
Well, so the final week we won the FA Cup against Arsenal on the weekend. Went down to have a beer because we had the UEFA Cup final midweek.
So the
gaffer was like,
that's a quick turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, and we flew off to Germany, or I think went home for a day and then off to Germany. So we win the UEFA Cup final, but then we've got a game final weekend of the season. We have to win to get in the top 4. Because you didn't get in Champions League by winning UEFA Cup.
Sure. So the FA Cup and UEFA Cup was both before the season ended?
Yes. So no party.
Oh, that's an absolute nightmare.
So the final game, we've got Charlton away, which was pretty tough to go back then. They had a decent side. So we 0-0 half time. We ended up winning 4-0. And the lads were just ready.
Yeah, I bet.
So we've got on the coach. And to be fair to the manager, he's like, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So somewhere near the Charlton Stadium, there was this like big Asda.
I didn't think you were going to say Asda. I thought you might say.
But we're in the Liverpool trackies. So a few of the boys are gone. I think Robbie was captain or joint captain then. So all I can see is coming out of Asda in the Liverpool trackies is Robbie Fowler, Karen, myself, whatever. We got trolleys, and so we have a few on the coach, and then we had a club at Albert Docks booked for the night.
So back up to Liverpool for the backup.
So that was a pretty.
Can you imagine that now, by the way, with social media, all the pictures of you, Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk coming out of Asda with cans.
It wasn't a private do,
tinnies.
actually. We had a load of fans in there. It was good to celebrate with the fans, is what I remember of it. It was a long night, though. But
that must have been, honestly, to win an FA Cup and to then go and win the UEFA Cup and not be able to celebrate, you must have been, goodness me.
To be honest, looking back, if you could separate those wins, like 1 year, you could have a big party, couldn't you? You could celebrate them properly. But it was an amazing achievement, but you don't think as a player, this is the last one. You just think, well, when we do this next time, we'll do that, and then there isn't a next time. Yeah. So, I mean, the party, we had a good party after we beat Man U in the League Cup, because we were underdogs.
Where was that again?
I think that was 03.
03, yeah.
Down in Cardiff. That was a good night.
Yeah.
Because they were winning, United were brilliant.
Yeah. And in that treble winning season, did you start in both finals? FA and UEFA Cup?
Yeah.
You start on both. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Happy days. Would you have something, the Champions League final, 07, even though you didn't win the final, would you still have something booked afterwards to almost kind of celebrate? Was it literally get on the flight and get home?
We go back to the hotel and we have like a little do, family, friends and whatnot. Then
it's a killer when you've lost, though.
Yeah. So it was a bit a sweet moment. So it was a great experience, great to get to a final, but just obviously sad that we didn't win it. And then obviously when you come home, you do your own kind of
debrief.
Tasty debrief.
And then it will go off.
Yeah. So that's last season. It's already been a busy couple of weeks though. Jermaine, you touched on Jeremy Frimpong. So we know Trent is off, £10 million, one signing already done, Jeremy Frimpong, and you touched on it, but just go into a bit more detail again. A different type of right back to Trent in terms of what he's going to bring to this team. Yeah,
he is a player that likes to get forward more. He's going to be, kind of the wing backy kind of role. But I think he's good at defending as well. If you watch him, he's not a bad defender. And I think he's got a lot of pace, which if you've got pace at fullback, it helps humongous. We look at Kyle Walker, for example. Wasn't the greatest player, but as a defender, he was amazing because you couldn't get past him. So we talked about Trent's defensive frailties. I think Frimpong's going to probably be on the better side of that because of his pace will get him out of a lot of trouble. And like I said, going forward, it will take a little bit of pressure off Mo as well. Because if he lets Mo come inside, he will get down that byline. He will get into the box. We've seen like PSG, look at their fullbacks. You've got Caoimhin playing sometimes as a centre forward in the box. And I think that's the kind of mindset of Frimpong. So we're going to probably see a little bit of that kind of style with Liverpool and Frimpong.
So as a right winger, so what sort of right backs did you really enjoy playing with that would bring the best out of you and will help you?
One that likes to get forward.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's bringing
on the overlap, so you can then come inside.
Giving me space. Is the defender going to stay with me or is he going to follow him? So it just gives the defence a conundrum. What do they do? So it gives you more, rather than him staying back there, they've got their wing back and their midfielder and their defender there. They can double up.
Yeah, sure.
If this guy's bombing on, they're going to have to keep an eye on him. It's giving me more time, more space.
Yeah. And Danny, always, as a fan of a team, when your team are doing stuff early in the window, just fills you with confidence, doesn't it? It's almost like they know what they're doing, they know what they want, and they've gone out and got a player done pretty much as the season ends.
Well, I mean, the best thing about getting players early is, yes, you can work with them and they can get to build football relationships with the lads, but it's lads getting to know each other and becoming friends. Yeah, little pre-season together where you build up relationships. Because we've all done it where someone comes in the door late, and you don't really know them for a couple of months because they're so busy doing it. Pre-season, you're bonding, and that's actually sometimes more important than the football side of it. It's going to be interesting with Frimpong though, because he's going to have to adapt a little bit because he's played wing back for so long. So his starting position is going to have to be a bit deeper and probably be a bit more reliable with the ball when you're deeper because you don't want to lose it there. But you're right, him flying forward could help Salah. I think also he's got to know when to leave Salah be.
Yeah.
Because Salah sometimes, then if you let Salah leave him be to go both ways, you don't want to be blocking his space as well. But the other thing with Conor Bradley there is it will allow Arne Slot at times to play Conor Bradley and actually give Mo a rest and play him right wing. I mean, he was at the City Academy. Well, he grew up at the City Academy as a right winger. So he actually loves scoring and making goals, which is mad because they've got...
Bit more versatile player to Trent. It sounds like he can play a bit more front of the ball and stuff. When you were both at Liverpool, do you thinking who was the best player that Liverpool signed while you were at the club where you're like, goodness me, wow, we've bought... I'm thinking for you, Jermaine, were you there when Torres signed? Yeah, because that was like a wow, wasn't it? He was banging in the goals in Spain, right?
Yeah, that first season, he was, a couple of seasons, was unbelievable.
Yeah. And when Torres signs to Liverpool, do you find out like with everyone else on Sky Sports News, or do you kind of like just know what's going on behind the scenes?
There's murmurs.
Rumours.
Of a player coming in and we're interested in this player, but you don't know.
Or you're open. I hope he's not in my business.
Yeah.
Not yet.
So obviously you find out literally that he's actually signed.
He was so good that first season as well.
Before obviously Sky Sports, you see him in the training ground doing his medical, and then but yeah, he was immense. He was so powerful, so quick. Could finish.
Yeah, pace, wasn't it, when he first? Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, he just fitted the way Liverpool played.
Yeah, and him and Stevie had that link up, didn't they? Which was ridiculous, wasn't it? Brilliant. But best player you signed Liverpool, where you're like, wow, he's coming here.
Well, I mean, we signed some good players. Sammy Hippie was a big player to sign. The most impactful signing we had was Gary McAllister.
Sure.
The impact he had on everyone around was massive. Just that experience, that help, his character. Because we had a lot of me, Stevie, Cara, all of us young lads, really. He just had this wisdom about him. Like, could talk to you in a game and calm you down or G you up. And away from the pitch was brilliant as well. He was the most impactful. The most talented, I don't know if you play, I don't know, you're probably too young to play with him, but Nicolas Anelka we signed on loan.
Right.
My God.
I think it was at Arsenal when I first joined Arsenal.
Julio's biggest mistake, God bless him, when his time at Liverpool is he didn't make the move permanent for Anelka. He signed Ellard after the World Cup. Do you remember?
Yeah,
he's a big fan of it.
Great World Cup, though,
by the way, El Hadj is a big fan of the show, so no slagging off El Hadj joke. But what was he thinking? Let's be honest. Come on.
It's not a slant on El Hadj because...
But he wasn't as talented as Nicolas Anelka, was he?
Anelka was ridiculous. I couldn't believe how good he was. And do you know what I always remember about him? It's like, it didn't matter how bad the weather was. It didn't matter how much it was raining, how hard the pitch was. So all the pitches are different, aren't it? He used to wear these little rubbers.
Rubbers?
Like, not studs, little rubbers.
Oh, okay.
Molds.
And he never slipped over. And he was electric.
Do you know they're good?
And he does that standing start as well. You know when you've got the ball and you just stop and then...
It was so sharp.
Never slipped. Yeah. It's like he was so cool, that guy.
So he comes in, you're like seeing him change, you're like, whoa, this guy's ridiculous.
We've got to sign it.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
No, well, El Hadj did it right, didn't he?
Hey?
El Hadj did it right, didn't he?
No, he did all right.
He did all right. No Nicolas Anelka, was he, right?
No.
Florian Wirtz, boys. It looks like this deal is going to happen. It would be a record buy. We believe £109 million bid has gone in. Personal terms being reported are agreed between the club and the player. This would just be, Jermaine, a wow signing and an X factor signing, wouldn't it?
It would be a fantastic signing. I think it would give us Liverpool that little bit of thing we're sometimes missing in midfield, that creativity spark. We do rely on Gakpo, Diaz, and Mo, and someone who in that number hybrid 9-10 slot. Szoboszlai listen, he's a fantastic player, amazing, but sometimes we're missing that creativity from him at times. Someone like Wirtz, he's got it in abundance. He's quick feet, electric around the box, can score, the vision, the IQ of the game. If you speak to everyone about them, everyone can only give massive praise. And if you're not a good player or a great player, you don't get those kind of praises from every single person. So yeah, it will be a statement signing. It could be something like the KDB of Man City.
Wow, yeah. Hopefully, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
I said could be.
No, yeah, but it feels like
I get you.
the year that we signed Ellard and Van Dijk was for big money. We had the Coutinho money coming in 150. Like a lot of our other kind of signings are around the 50, 60, 70s. It's quite rare, isn't it, Danny? That it will be the first time ever that we go out and spend this amount of money on one player, right?
I was surprised. I was surprised to hear Liverpool linked to that price. But it is a statement. They must think so highly of him and done their research. I mean, I've seen him probably 5-6 times and been really impressed. But then when I heard they might be signing him, I did, looking at more stuff. And you're spot on what you said. It's that ability to get himself out of trouble with quick feet and go by people. But some of his passes, like he sees things. Yeah. He's got all these pictures. Normally you're a bit more one or the other. A bit like more of a dribbler or a passer. Like you were a really good dribbler and I was more of a passer. I couldn't dribble, but he seems to just be comfortable with all. And I even saw some of the free kicks here. Have you seen the wobble thing here?
Yeah.
My God,
that's incredible. Yeah.
And he's only young. I think the key question is going to be where they use him. Are they going to keep the same system and just throw him in where Szoboszlai is and use Szoboszlai a bit deeper and share the load there? He could play off the left, tucking in. He's not really a winger, is he? But he could play in off there or in off the right. Maybe if Salah's, because Salah never gets injured, but he will one day. Yeah. All these different options you got with him, and the false nine is a really good debate. We think Darwin's going to go. Yeah. Do they then go and get a striker? Are they all right with Jota and Diaz filling in, or are they thinking Wirtz free role? We just don't know. I mean, we've seen PSG, who've been the best team in Europe this year, play with. I know he's more dynamic than Dembele, but he hasn't played as a 9, has he?
No, you see him so deep at times.
Or wide. It just goes.
And then you see Caoimhin up there.
In the Arsenal game in the Champions League at the Emirates, he was sometimes coming as deep as centre-back to pick the ball up and start attacks Dembele.
He's been given that freedom. But I'm not suggesting we copied him, but what I mean is it might be just another little tweak that Slot's thinking, rather, do I need a...
But he's versatile, and that's the thing. Yeah. He's not just a 8 or a 6 or he's 10. He's versatile. Yeah. That's what's so good about him, is we can put him in different formations, different styles.
So we know we have Salah from the right. It looks like Gakpo. I mean, Diaz was linked with Saudi, but Paul Joyce from the Times reports and Liverpool don't want to sell him. So Salah from the right, Gakpo, Diaz from the left. We know we have Wirtz. Assuming Jota's going to stay as well, I'm then not so sure that the club are going to go out and sign an out-and-out number 9 as well. It looks like it could be Wirtz and Jota kind of almost rotating in that position, and Wirtz then could go wide if needed. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't imagine them going out signing in a number 9 as well. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure.
I think you'll be wrong.
Yeah. You think they'll go out and sign another number 9?
I think Darwin will go, and I think if they get enough money, Jota will go.
And they'll sell Jota as well?
Not that I don't like Jota.
Too injury prone though, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, if Jota goes, then number 9. I mean, Tony Evans did the show with us about a month ago, and he says he reckons that it's to spend this summer £150 million plus whatever is being sold. And I think with Kelleher, Trent, Tsimikas, Elliott, Nuno, Chiesa, we could easily get £100 million combined. And that's then potentially up to £250 million to spend.
It's quite exciting.
The money's
quite
there,
exciting because you don't necessarily have to bring in... People get obsessed with thinking you've got to bring in this world-class striker, Isak or whoever, rather than... If you've already got Salah, gets you goals. You've already got reliability in Gakpo and Jota. If you keep someone like Jota, you're bringing in Wirtz, who's got this creativity and
who also gets goals.
You can bring in a diamond in the rough. Who knew Bobby Firmino when we brought him in? I know he was more of a false nine. But Coutinho came for 10 million. Nobody knew him. Liverpool are good at both aspects of when they got Van Dijk and Alisson, 2 brilliant, 70 odd, whatever it was. But they're also good at nicking 100%. The diamonds in the rough. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me to maybe see someone come in who's not
already proven, kind of in a way.
Not a wow. Oh my God, he's amazing. It's like, who's this fella?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, So we'll have to wait and see. But that's part of the excitement of pre-season.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the only excitement of pre-season.
That's not where we're struggling at.
Laps isn't good. The bleep test isn't good. Miss those days, boys?
You could run all day.
Yeah, I know, but I still didn't like it.
Was it grim? Was that the only negative thing about being a professional football player?
When I bleep test was coming in, it was just, I can remember when you had like 5 to 6 weeks off, And that week of, we're back in next week, it's probably the worst week of a footballer's life at that point.
Yeah.
It's
My heart
like,
bleeds for you,
each day that goes past, you're like, oh no.
Do you know what? I saw John Reese on the show the other day here for talkSPORT, and he was talking about when he first went, because I was there when he first come, and he this running test, and he just went off. And I was like, who's this fella? You know, and the top come off and all that. You know, John James, don't you? So he's flying and he's just gone, but he's trying to set, you know, a statement. And a couple of lads pulled him back a bit, but he won it by a mile. You know, and you think, whoa. And the only other thing I never forget it to this day, bleep test when I was at Crewe years ago. And we signed Robbie Savage from United. He'd been let go. And he turns up and he's got this mad, crazy hair and all. And
Immediately you're not having him, are you?
A few of the lads would be like, who's this fella? Because his barnet was everywhere. He even had some beads on, you know, one of them. So he's going on the bleep and he's cruising, and as he gets to the end and everyone's dropped out, say it's about level 15, 16 on the last one, he starts running backwards and just doing this.
I don't think I've ever run backwards on a bleep test.
Honestly.
Mate, he was unbelievable.
Only Robbie Savage with bees, blonde hair, giving it one of those
It
ones.
was brilliant, honestly.
Yeah.
But,
Good lad?
Great lad.
Good lad, yeah.
Great lad, mate. Yeah. He could run for him.
He could run, yeah. John Reese,
That's all he
what
could do, though.
what a player he was, though, for Liverpool. I
John
mean,
Ginge was good, yeah.
What a great servant he was.
Well, he came to Fulham as well. He
Was that you? That was you, wasn't it? Were you and the managers here? Go and
I
get.
actually wasn't.
Oh, I don't believe you.
No, I didn't.
He tapped him up, yeah.
He was a good lad and very pivotal to our success because he was a flying machine. Do you know what I mean?
And he could take a free kick, couldn't
And
he?
you see now, yeah, he could, but you know, nearly all fat fullbacks now can do that, can't they? I don't.
Fat fullback.
Yeah, I didn't. Maybe not fat. All
He wasn't fat, was
all
he?
fullbacks do that now.
Yeah.
Then that was kind of new. Him and Ash.
Yeah.
Ash was one, wasn't he? But there weren't as many.
No, yeah, what a play. I remember his free kick. Some of that free kick against Man United he scored at Anfield Road end was an absolute rocket, wasn't it? A couple of bits of transfer news. Caoimhin Kelleher officially gone to Brentford. 10 years he spent at Liverpool Football Club. Could be up to £80 million with add-ons. Probably the biggest compliment, Jermaine, you could pay to Caoimhin Kelleher is when the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion, Alisson, wasn't available. Kelleher never let us down, did he?
No, he didn't. He stepped. That's the thing. When Alisson did get injured, at no point did I like, oh no, because he was so comfortable as the number two, probably one of the best number two out there. And every time he was in goal, he was solid. He made some big saves. Yes, he wasn't as good with his feet as Alisson was, and sometimes a game had to change at times because of it. You know, kind of went wrong a lot of times. But apart from that, you know, what a great servant. What a great number two. You know, he kept us in so many games, and he's part of the reason why we did win the league as well. Because, like I said,
And played a lot of games.
Yeah, played a lot of games.
Alisson's quite injury prone for a goalkeeper, isn't he? He misses quite a bit.
Well,
of football.
Keller's played a lot of finals as well.
In the cups, yeah, absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
I remember being at the games and the penalty shootout as well.
Chelsea, wasn't it? Yeah.
He's remarkable because not only of his ability and coming in and doing what he does, but the way he's conducted himself. You know, like sometimes he's had this great run of form. Alisson's more or less fit, you're in.
Yeah.
Never heard him do a bad interview. Never seen him
Moan, complain.
contentious on the, you know, like sulking. He just gets on.
Yeah.
I wish him well. I
Yeah,
really do.
What
And I hope
snip though? 12 mil. I know it goes up to
It could be
like
up to 18, yeah.
That for him,
That's a
I think that's a.
A good move for him going to Brentford. Feels like a good club for him to be at. Thomas Frank's a good coach. Or did you
Well,
maybe think?
if you look at Flacken, how well he did,
Yeah.
and you know now he's gone to.
I tell you one thing I would say with Kelleher though, at Spurs, he's better than Vicario.
He is.
Yes,
He's better than Onana.
He is.
it's better than Sanchez.
Chelsea need a good goalkeeper. He's better than. So I know it's maybe Liverpool wouldn't have sold to Chelsea and Spurs being in the Champions League, but I think he could have done. I mean, Brentford are a good club, but I almost feel like he could have maybe even done better for him.
No, he could have. You know, Aston Villa need a goalkeeper. You know,
Because Martinez could be going, yeah.
Potentially
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
going,
yeah,
but,
absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of big suitors that could have come in for him. But
Yeah. A couple of other bits of transfer news. It looks like, Danny, that Kerkez is going to be the next one that's going to come through the doors. £45 million could be the fee. Lots of people reporting that they expect personal terms to be fine, a fee to be agreed. Two questions. Is he going to be a good signing? And do you think with left back Robertson and Tsimikas, it's time for, say, an upgrade if it was disrespectful, given how good Robertson's been to the football club, but maybe a time to freshen up left back? Another option, perhaps.
Well, firstly, I think I'd say Robertson deserves more credit than he gets. There's been
£6 million, Danny.
Yeah, there's been too much talk of his demise and his bad games rather than what he's given as a whole, because he has been a joke. how good he's been. Arguably one of Liverpool's best ever left backs, and I can't pay him more of a compliment. There's been a lot of good ones. So I think Robertson will stay and share the load with Kerkez, and I think Tsimikas will probably go, who's done all right as well. But Kerkez he's an all-rounder. I've watched him live probably 3 or 4 times. I see 3 times. So I think you get a bit more when you watch someone. He actually likes one-on-one defending. He doesn't mind it. He's got a bit about him. He's quick.
Yep.
Loves bombing. Fit. Really fit. Well, all the Bournemouth players are fit. He's a flying machine. But he's crossing. He whips it into great areas. He's really confident with his delivery. You know, sometimes you see fullback a bit more tentative with it, and they're a bit, just want to get it in an area. It's going in with pace, and he's got this real confidence about him. Now, of course, all those attributes are great. You've then got to be able to adapt your mindset to produce under this huge magnifying glass, if you like, at Liverpool, where every performance you're judged.
Will be scrutinised.
Yeah.
Did you find that when you were playing, that you played in a Champions League final, but also then played for some non-kind of big 6 teams, if you like, in the Premier League? Did you find that it was just when you made that move to Liverpool, everything was just intensified? And can that be hard?
Absolutely. It's that every game.
But you, to be fair to you, you'd had it at Arsenal a bit. When you first got in, everyone was watching.
Yeah.
So we understood it.
So we understood a bit. But being at Liverpool, every game is a win. Doesn't matter who you're playing. Well, when you're Stokes or you're Birminghams, you
get away with it.
You're underdog at times, so you can get away with it. You can get away with not playing well, the team not playing well. But if you're at Liverpool or Man United or Man City, well, not Man United now, but you've got to be winning every game.
Yeah.
And if you don't put in a good performance, they're not happy, and you feel it and you hear about it. So these players coming from Bournemouth, they can go, losing on a little losing streak because it's Bournemouth and they don't really get called out. But as soon as you go to Liverpool, you've got to be on the top. But with Kerkez, I think he's going to be a success because the team's going to be successful.
Yeah. You can always see Robertson staying almost them kind of rotating at times, maybe. Yeah. Sort of Kerkez plays in the league, Robertson could play in the Champions League, just to sort of ease Kerkez in a little bit.
Well, I think both sides, when we talked about Conor Bradley as well, but Robert, and I don't know if you've noticed a lot with Slot, how often he subs the fullbacks. And that's because if you look at the running stats of fullbacks now, it's gone through the roof in the last decade. This expectancy to get forward, get back, get forward, get back. And a lot of teams climb up the middle against the good teams, so the space is down the side. So I think even if they sign him, which it looks like they will, I think Robertson's still got a role to play. And actually, from Liverpool fans' perspective, how brilliant to have both.
Yeah.
Especially if Kerkez might not hit the ground running, for example. Robertson can step in and take the pressure off.
Something I think I touched on at the top is that Slot didn't feel like he didn't want to use the squad at times in the season. And maybe for being a little bit, not critical, but one of the issues maybe was it felt like getting to that PSG quarterfinals, it maybe looked like some of the lads that were playing pretty much every single week without resting, maybe looked a little bit leggy. So it's important going into the new season, if you want to challenge in all fronts, that he has a proper squad of 17, 18 players, like Pep's had for a long time at Man City, and therefore just swapping in and out of left back isn't an issue because there's not that big drop-off, right?
Well, now he can, whoever he gets in new, he can trust the players that he's going to bring in because they were his old starters. For example, Kerkez, he can now trust that I can throw in Robertson at any stage of the game, at any time or any game, because he was my main guy to go to. Kerkez is just a younger, fitter, probably a little better player now. So I think we will see a bit more rotation with players coming in. Frimpong coming in. Conor Bradley now was the understudy for Trent. He's now both on par. So whoever he throws in, he's going to trust more. Well, I think before, Tsimikas was like, okay, yeah, you're good, but I don't feel like I can throw you in these big games. You're not that guy I want to rely on yet. So I think now, with the signings and the old team, I think we will see a lot more rotation.
Yeah. On centre-backs then, Van Dijk, Canate pretty much playing all last season. Gomez, another injury-prone season. Kwanzaa, we sort of touched on, maybe Slot doesn't fancy him too much at the moment. Do you think then we could see a centre-back come in? We were linked with House and Wyoming, obviously he's gone to midfield.
I think it will depend on who we can get out. I don't think we'll have Gomez, Kwanzaa and a new one. I think I like Gomez.
I like Gomez, centre-back. Firm centre-back, then right back.
I do. Yeah. I think he's really good. The problem is he can't stay fit.
Yeah.
I think you'll have takers for both. Yeah. Kwanzaa's a really talented young lad who's super athlete, can play right back. They can both play right back, to be fair. There'll be plenty of takers. The more important thing for me, okay, if we stay with those two and don't bring one in, not the end of the world, as long as Gomez stays fit. Yeah. But the other thing is sorting Konaté's deal out.
Mm.
Because I don't think Konaté really got the same, maybe he did in some quarters, but not many. I thought he was brilliant this season. Now, I know he's next to Van Dijk, which makes every centre-half look better. But the big thing Konaté gives, and especially when we've had Trent there, but whoever, whether it's Frimpong or Conor Bradley, is he gives that reassurance that when they've gone, he can cover with the pace. Mm. And I'm not sure Gomez and Kwanzaa have that same pace. They're both quick, Gomez and Kwanzaa, but not like Konaté's and the power. So, I don't know. Ideal world, I'd like to see a new one.
Another one coming, yeah. Because Konaté's got, I think, 1 year left on his deal. So he was kind of he's going to sign a new deal.
Well, that's the point. So there's talk, isn't there? If he doesn't sign it, because they're trying it, then they might cash in.
Oh, really? Okay, goodness me. Then we'll need a proper kind of almost ready-made, proven player coming in. And and then in terms of, we sort of touched on some of the players coming out. We know that Kelleher's gone, Trent's gone. We're assuming Tsimikas will move on if Kerkez comes in. What about Harvey Elliott? Do you think maybe he's the sort of player that at this stage of his career, I mean, if you were both advising Harvey Elliott, let's say, who's been at Liverpool now for a good few years, has always kind of been on the fringes, is he the sort of player, boys, where is he maybe at a point in his career where, sure, being at Liverpool and winning trophies is amazing, where he just needs to go and play football somewhere now? And Liverpool might think we can take some money for him?
You go.
It's a tough one because he's a Liverpool fan as well.
Yeah.
So does he want to leave in that sense? No. But at the same time, you've got to look at your own career and your own path, how and where you want to achieve and your ambitions. And if you know that the manager, you're not in his, you've been there for a good 5-6 years, but the manager, you're not in the manager's plans as a regular, and you've got the ability to go probably anywhere else and play regular football, you're then going to bite the bullet and go, do you know what? It's as bad as how much it's going to hurt, I have to play football for myself, for my family, for my future. And if there's suitors coming in and Liverpool accepts, I think it will go.
Yeah, Danny?
I tend to agree with most of that. I do feel for him because he has given it. He hasn't thrown his toys out early. He's been there quite a long time now. And Klopp used him more than Slot. So this is one of the few players the managerial change has not helped. Curtis Jones, I think, has helped. Slot coming in ahead of, I think he's played in more than maybe Klopp did. But Harvey Elliott's gone the other way. I mean, the great thing about him is he does make things happen. He creates and scores goals from nothing.
He's a busy player, isn't he?
He's a busy player. The only thing I'd say, and probably why we haven't seen more of him, in my opinion, is that I'm not sure Slot thinks, what is he? He's played on the right for Salah a couple of times. He's played in the midfield free. He's played, off the front. We've got so much talent. It's hard for him to establish himself. And I agree, there's a point now where people know him. He's shown what he can do. There's no doubt in his ability. Find somewhere where you can get the games, play, enjoy. Because sometimes people think, you play 10 games or 8 games or 11 games, maybe less he's played. I don't even know. Probably less, I think.
They're probably majority, probably all off the bench.
Right. Well, and he's going to get a winner's medal. But let's say he'd played for, I don't know, Forest, and had an amazing season and played every minute of the game and had got into Europe. Well, it's not a medal, but you're contributing. And you're going to bed every week after a game thinking, I've contributed to that.
Well, that might mean more to him as a person to contribute, because you're making an impact.
People get obsessed with this. Well, why would you leave there? And what? I was a bit old school. When I wasn't playing, I was in.
Well, we
was in a nightmare.
Were you knocking on the manager's door?
Yeah, I was a right knob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you use it about a nightmare?
Well, yeah, but I think that's fine.
But even at home.
Oh, what's like the missus and stuff?
I'll be fuming.
Yeah, it's
really.
horrible.
So you bring that home with you? You almost.
Yeah.
But it must be horrible as a footballer going to bed on a Friday night, like knowing you're not playing on the
horrible.
Saturday.
You're training all week, preparing, and then on Friday you get told, and you're just like, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's become more acceptable because there's so many more squad game now where players know they'll be playing a few days later. And also, let's be perfectly honest about it, it's become more acceptable because you get paid more to stomach it.
Sure.
So if I said, look, you're not going to play every week, but we'll quadruple your wage from when we were playing.
Still.
Yeah, if you go from 25, 30 grand to 150 grand, it's like, do you know what, I'll take it on the chin.
Yeah.
That's what some players do. Harvey Elliott now he wants to establish himself somewhere and be the main man, which I think he can. It's just choosing the right.
He's got the ability, hasn't he? Probably. He just needs regular games.
He's got great ability.
Yeah. So, out of interest, was it at Liverpool? What clubs were you not playing that you weren't happy with?
Well, I had a little spell at Liverpool, but when
Under Julio.
yes, before I actually become established, which was a bit different because I was young, so I knew my place. I did have one spell later at Liverpool where I was in and out a little bit, where it really gets you, but I got my way back in. It was more for me at Tottenham, probably there was lots of reasons there. My old man was ill and stuff, but that was the one time in my career where I was struggling with it all because I wasn't playing. Because when you only know football and you'll release, the endorphins, you get the dopamine, all that, the competitive juices, everything. If you don't let it go, you've got a problem. So I had a mentality: just get out, go and play.
Almost, could the manager though almost be like, when he sees that you're angry and you're knocking on the door wanting to know why, can you almost as a manager respect that more than just a player that seems to be training happy? Not, do you know what I mean? Could a manager go the other way and go, I respect you for knocking on my door, and
It depends on the manager, the individual manager. Some people like to see that you're knocking on his door and eager to play. They like that. Some like go,
some hate it.
Shut up and get out of me.
He's a nuisance. Driving me mad. Yeah, so it depends on who the manager is.
Are you like that here at talkSPORT? If you're not doing the commentary on a Monday night, you're knocking on Liam's door going, Liam, what's going on, mate? Come on, sort me out.
No.
You've got Mackenzie over me. What's happening here?
No. We get wiser and a bit more chilled.
A bit more sensitive,
don't we?
Nah, fair enough. Just to finish, I wanted to mention this, talking about the season. And one thing I thought was special and I loved seeing Jurgen Klopp back at Anfield on that final day of the season, because obviously Arne Slot's done amazingly well. And we mentioned that Klopp's title-winning season couldn't have been celebrated because of COVID. Seeing Klopp at Anfield with a smile on his face, with fans celebrating, that meant a lot to me as someone that loved what Jurgen Klopp did to the football club and the city as well, boys.
I think it was nice. Not a priority, not something that would bother me if he wasn't, because it's about the new manager now. I think the fact those two get on so well and do message, and Slot has spent the whole season making sure he shares his appreciation for the squad he was left and the communication he had with Klopp. So that made it. I'm not a big fan of seeing old managers constantly there, but this particular occasion, because
that's the first time he's been back.
No, I know, and because of so much of that squad was his, so it was nice. But it's for me not as important as what was going on the pitch. The one thing I would thank Klopp for and say what I thought was brilliant was his words on Trent. Yeah. Because I think it showed the love the fans still have for him, because the dynamic change in the supporters in the ground, I think, was because of Klopp.
Because he got good reception, didn't he, when he came up to because he was pretty open and honest there, wasn't he, Jurgen? Which was nice. Gents, thank you very much. This has been Inside Liverpool. Have you got busy, nice big summer holidays lined up, gents?
Got a few holidays.
You got a few, yeah. Ibiza, Dubai. Some good ones.
I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll see.
Good stuff. Hopefully we can do it again at the start of the new season. And if you want a chance to win 2 tickets then to the Club World Cup, which of course starts very, very shortly. The Club World Cup final is in New York with flights, hotel, and $5,000 cash included. If you fancy that, go to talksport.com/competitions for info on how to enter. Plus loads and loads of details. Danny and Jermaine, thank you so much for your time. We'll be back in the new season. This has been Inside Liverpool. We'll see you guys very, very shortly.